So what is poppin', boys? So today's gonna be kind of a different video for my channel, but it's along the same line. So my garage, if y'all have seen my videos, is like not up to par. It's literally this whole area that I've been working on all my vehicles in used to be storage for everything, and 3 years ago I emptied it all out and made it a workout area. And then I got into cars, so I moved all that workout stuff out in the shed outside and emptied it all out and made this a car garage. Let me go ahead and show you all that. So this thing's gone through many different stages. At one point, that tool chest was just 3 of these bins stacked on top of each other, and that was really my workspace, and all that stuff was all messed up. But I ended up putting in shelves and tables and stuff and making this somewhat of a work area, but it's done just fine. I don't have my cars in there. I have both of them outside. I have just my bike in here. But as you can see, it's like this is a 2-car garage, but it's really narrow. You see there's not a lot of room on the sides, but this area has been driving me nuts now because it's so cluttered, and I try constantly to get it clean, but it just gets cluttered every time I work. You can see my little workstation. This is it. I have a shit ton. I have like 4 or 5 different battery chargers just because I have different tools. I got the Harbor Freight, DeWalt, I have a Makita now. And then we got hedge trimmers over there. But before I show you what I did yesterday, I just want to talk about it a little bit. So I've been watching videos on how to make shelves. So I went ahead and attempted to make shelves yesterday, and this is how it came out. So I'll put a picture in right now of what it used to look like. You can see everywhere there's just clutter and stuff. And then now it looks like this. So it is way better. I made these shelves a really easy way that I found on YouTube, and I'm gonna try to replicate the same thing on this side. And whenever I did this side, I literally just bought a bunch of wood and attempted to see what I needed because I didn't know how to do it really. And I ended up only having to go back to Home Depot for a few boards and an extra piece of plywood that I ended up not needing. So I actually did pretty good just buying a random amount. But this time I went ahead and made a blueprint. I doubt y'all are gonna be able to understand this because I wrote it my own way for you to understand, but if this helps you understand better, this is what we're looking at now. And this is all the wood that I want to make, the vertical pieces and everything. But anyways, that's that. So I figured out how much wood I'm going to need, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Home Depot and get all that piled up in my dad's 4Runner. So I figured I'd record it just because I like watching garage renovation videos. So I figured I'd make a really small one just to show you what you can do with a little itty bitty garage. And I've done motor rebuilds in here, I've swapped engines, I've done pretty much everything right here in this little garage space, and it's done me no harm, except it just is ugly. You can see I made this shelf out of fucking particle board and shit, and then this is falling over, and like this is all broken and shit, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a new one. I have 11 pieces of plywood in the back that I have ratchet strapped to the seat belt holes, and I bought 2 things of 3-inch screws also, and 3 things of plywood, and it came out to $79, so not bad at all. I'll show you the plywood once I get home because that shit better fucking stay on. But anyways, time to dip out of Home Depot. So this is how I had the plywood. I had that one on the roof rack, that one on the roof rack, and I had that one going all the way up inside, and I just shoved all the 11 in there and wrapped it around in there. But anyways, time to load it all into that garage and move all that shit out and throw away. You can see I have both trash cans full. There's even another one on the side right there that's full. So I'm gonna have this area as my little woodworking station, and hopefully I don't have that much shit to where I can kind of have it up. But before yesterday, I cleaned all that shit out, and I had it all piled up here, had the wood there and put it on there. So I don't know how I'm really gonna organize it, but luckily I don't have that much shit. But anyways, let's go ahead and unload this and get it ready to fucking make. So now I'm just gonna start moving everything out and away. I'm gonna move my bike out and then just try to separate everything as much as I can, but I'm mainly just gonna move it here. that, or try to get it up as far forward, maybe utilize that space and put some shit on the shelves just to get it out of the way. But I'm just gonna do that so that way I can get as much shit out, and I'm gonna figure out how to stack up these shelves and tables and get them like how I had the other one in the corner over there. So now that we have an open wall, we can go ahead and start applying the layers. So I doubt y'all can understand this, but this is a bottom 2x4 and this long thing's the window. And so what I did is I'm going to apply a 2x4 right underneath this window frame. That's gonna go all the way here. And then what I'm gonna try to do is cut out the second 2x4. So I'm gonna put a brace there and a brace there to try to put the top of the parts washer perfectly right here, so it'll be right next to the ground, and there's gonna be a really small floor space, which is probably gonna get a lot of shit in it because I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit a storage bin. But then after that, 28 inches high, I'm gonna make my workbench, so I'm gonna have that come out here, and I'm gonna keep my blue toolbox on the very right. And then I'm gonna make the workbench go right up next to the toolbox. And then I'm gonna put the pegboard directly above that. And then I'm gonna have a shelf that's gonna start right at the top of the thing, because I have this open all the time, the lid. So the shelf's gonna start right above it. And so that's what that is. And then I'm gonna have two shelves that are gonna be right above this window. So I'm gonna have a shelf there, I don't know if I'm gonna make them even or not. I'll have to figure that out. I may make this one, the very top one, the same one as the very top one on the right, but I'm not sure yet because that may look a little wonky. But other than that, I measured everything and I bought the exact amount that I need with I don't know how much to spare. So hopefully, if all my calculations were correct, then this will work out pretty nice. But I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting all this wood and getting it propped up, and hopefully I can find all the studs, because I had such a hard time finding the studs. Even with this stud finder, it's still really hard because this is like a wood panel over sheetrock, and all the sheetrock's broken out behind it, and I'd honestly like to just tear it down, but I don't want to do that. But whatever, I'm just gonna start applying the 2x4s now. So I have the first two boards. The one, I don't know if you can see it, no, it's not in frame, but I have them all nice and level. What I did is I measured the height that I wanted it. I put a mark, and then I put a screw in the wall to set the board on top of. And if you can see right here, I have one, and right here I have one at 19 inches above from the top. And And so I'll put my 5-foot board that I cut, and I'm always gonna put the one cut. See, this one even has a little tag, but I'm just gonna set that here. That way I get the nice clean cut against the window trim. And then I'm going to screw this one in, and then I'll put the level on right here to see if I need to come up or down any, just to get it perfectly level. And you know, with windows, that they're always gonna have a frame around it, so I know positively that there's a stud right here. See, nice sound to hear with it impacting into the stud. And now I will set this right here, and the level is almost perfect. If anything, I need to go up like a millimeter. So what I will do is get this screw started. Where it pokes out the back. And then I'll lift it up exactly where it needs to go. And then with the screw sticking out the back, it'll make its place. And there we go. And then what you can do is now remove the 2 bottom screws that you use to hold them up. And then you can find your stud and bolt it in as many studs as you can on the wall. And that's how you do the first layer of whatever board you're putting on the wall. That's gonna stay on the wall because it doesn't have legs. So I've gone ahead and got all the beginning of the shelves. I originally had this one exactly lined up with that, but this, I plan on this being my workbench, which is why I got the pegboard right there. And me being 6 foot, the mark was originally right where this is. If I'm trying to reach down the shelf, I'm gonna smack my head. So I have this right at 6 foot. I'm 6'4", so I can still like smack the back of my head on it. But luckily it's a little bit higher. It's not gonna be as aesthetically pleasing, but it is gonna just be useful. The shelf is honestly a little low. I could easily move it up, you know, right now with no hesitation. But the reason I have it at this height is so I can sit down, because if I have it higher, I'm not gonna be able to reach when I'm sitting down. And this is the chair I'm going off of, so when I sit down on this chair, my knees are going to be underneath it. And so my workbench will be right here, and so this will let me be able to sit, and then I can have all my tools within reach. And then I also plan on getting like an LED strip to go underneath it and everything. But other than that, one of the issues is there's an outlet that I had to cut around, but as far as the brace goes, I'm gonna have the brace come down right here, and all this area is gonna be non-braced because I don't wanna put a random brace, which is also gonna cover up the front of my toolbox. So I plan on putting a lot of other, I don't know what side, but the pieces that go in between, I plan on putting quite a bit of those in that area just to strengthen it, but I'm also not gonna put anything of heaviness, so I'm probably just gonna put like sprays and shit, like WD-40 and Rain-X and all that basic shit that I'll grab a lot. And what'll be nice is my toolbox will flip up. This is the mark that I had of where it would flip up at, so it'll be like that, and I'll have a little bit of extra space that I can maybe put like a decal or something above. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting the other boards to lay on top of these, and then I'll be able to make the braces. And so far, everything's going decent. So now I have all the identical boards. You can see there's 2 boards, 2, 2, and 2. And whenever you bolt or screw the second board on, make sure to offset it from your bracket. So I'm gonna have a bracket that or a beam that'll go down straight to there, and I offset it so that way I can remove this. That one actually may need to move over a little bit, but you can see it'll be right here. And so like I said before, that much is gonna be open, but it's not a huge deal because whatever. But then bracket is gonna be there and there. So and then the last one's gonna be here. So now all I gotta do is measure from the ground to the top on each one. And I'm gonna have a little baby one go on the very edge, and then have one big one go right there. So I'm gonna have two brackets right next to each other. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So I just want to show you something. So if your garage is not level, this is a good thing to do, because I just encountered a small issue. It's not a huge problem, it's just an aesthetic thing. But so it was 6 feet exactly for this one beam, and you can see it fits perfect. And if I line this one up at the bottom, it lines up perfect. But if I move it to where I planned on putting it, I have it touching the ground, lined up with that. You can see it is slightly shorter. So you need to measure each time to get the perfect cut. It's not a huge deal. I can still easily get 2 screws in right here. But that just goes to show that you can't rely on past measurements. Oh yeah, I'm hitting that right, so I'm gonna take that. But anyways, you just do that every single time, and I may have another issue, but I will get this screwed on and a couple other pieces and see if the issue still stands. So now that I got all the braces connected, I can start unscrewing the screws, and I already partially started. You can see this top piece is separate. So I'm gonna unscrew all of them, pull it back, and then lean it forward. And then I'll get my brace pieces that I'm cutting at, I think it's 16 inches. And so I'll do one on each side, one there and one there. That way I can have it not, trying to fall backwards on me like it is right here. But I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew all these screws and then lean it forward. So in here, I am making all the braces. These are all 16 inches. And the way I got them to cut perfectly is I have a chop saw on my grandpa's old little roll around thing that he made. Keeps it all nice and flush. But what I did is I got a scrap piece of board and I measured 16 inches, and then I put it in and lined it up perfectly. And I got this board, and here, let me just kind of show you. So I got a board lined up with 16 inches, and then I lined that one up perfectly and bolted it in. So now all I got to do is chop, push it in, chop, and I get perfect 16 inches. And so these will be all my braces that I need for the middle pieces, which is my next step. So now I have all the braces lined out. This is 20 to be exact, which is around what I approximated for me to have. And what I'm gonna do now, I was gonna buy a 45-degree angle jig. It's like a pocket hole or pockets or something like that. But it's like 20 bucks, and it was just pretty expensive. And on this one, I didn't use one, and it didn't come out that bad. So all I do, y'all may think this is kind of messed up, so you don't have to follow this one exactly, but all I do is get a small drill bit, and I get right in the center. On the ones yesterday, I marked perfectly the center. I went the center here, and then the center, or like right down, so I got it perfect. That one's an extra from yesterday. But all I'm gonna do today is, since I got longer screws, I got 3 inch instead of 2.5, I'm just gonna approximate the center, and then I drill down a little bit, and then I put it at 45-degree angle and go down, and I do it on the both sides. I don't do it on the bottom because it's enough just for what I'm doing it for, and then you line it up, and I'll just get to it after I do this. So what I'm gonna do now is get all these screws pre-drilled in. You can see this one's barely poking out, and I'm gonna do that on all of them, because when you're holding the frame up, by yourself at least, it's really hard to line it up. So you just do it like that, and then you can just easily zip it on real quick. So I'm just gonna get all these ready, and then I'll be able to hold it up and get this thing held up by itself. So I got 2 braces on, and now this thing is gonna hold itself up. And if you saw in that time lapse, I randomly placed this as close to this as I could, and then I measured where the board started right there, and I got it exactly right there. Same thing on this side. I just randomly put this here and there, and I always choose to start here as close to the beam as possible, and then I'll either do one in the middle or one every third. But for this area, I don't plan on putting lots of heavy stuff, and even then the plywood is strong enough to technically hold, because this isn't a huge gap. If it was a massive gap where it'd have a lot of flex, but I don't think it's gonna flex at all. So, but like over there's not gonna be any support, so I'm gonna put quite a few over, and then on my workbench I'll probably put like 4 or something. Yeah, what the hell is there? Oh, my neighbor's GT. Anyways, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this. My camera's about to die, so I'm just gonna let this happen in the background. So here we go. You can see the multiple panels there. I got one for my desk. I don't have anything here because I want to try to put the parts washer in there, like I said before. 2, 2, and 2. So now all I got to do is get the exact measurement and cut it out of the plywood that I have over there. So if I come over here, what I did is I marked, it's 19 inches wide. So I'm pretty much gonna have to cut all these to 19 and then cut them to however short they need to be lengthwise. But I measured 19 in multiple spots, and I used my square, and I was able to line up the 2 dots. I left a dot on each side of the 19, and I just connected it. And now if you can see the laser, I can keep that laser lined up perfectly and cut this exactly. I never had any issues doing it on these. They all fit in pretty perfect. If anything, they're a little short, and you'd rather have that than too long, or too wide won't fit. Too narrow, you still have the 2x4 in the back. You have like, you know, like that much fucking play. So it ain't that bad, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this now. I didn't record this part mainly because I didn't really know exactly how I was going to do this, but it actually ended up working out decently well. So I took the bottom frame off the parts washer, and I set it in, just kind of like had it set like tilted over, just laid in there. And all I did was marked where it ended, and I cut a very crooked cut because I was using a metal blade on my Sawzall. But anyways, and then once I cut that out, I cut the other side flush. I wanted it to be like on that thing or whatever. Once I cut it out, it actually just sit in, and now it's actually resting on the lip on all areas, the whole back area, and then here and here, and it's pretty fucking sturdy. Like I would assume I could sit on it. I don't know if I want to right now, but it is very strong, and it's got that beam right next to it to hold it up. But other than that, I got the last thing laid down, so now I have a complete shelf made for my garage. And this is kind of a concern, just because when you walk out the door, but as long as you don't go immediately right, you don't like smack into it. But it'll be nice to have this right here, and this is kind of sturdy. It's not touching the ground right there exactly, so that's that noise you hear, but it's nothing too bad. Once I get some weight on there, just a little bit of weight, it'll actually even out. But other than that, this is 100% complete. And here's my mess. I had one extra one and one almost non-used one. I just cut the little bit for my shelf out. But now all I gotta do is organize all this, and I'll be done. And look at how clean all this looks. So it's gonna seem like a couple seconds for y'all, but it's probably been an hour and a half. I wasn't even keeping track. But I ran out of trash cans, obviously. You can see that's just a pile of trash just waiting to get thrown away that I just kind of pushed at the edge of the garage. But other than that, I got my bike wheeled back in here. I leaf blowed all the dust out because I sweat most of it up. But if you can see this, I got my shit laid out and my toolbox fits perfectly under it. There's a little tiny trim. I got all this set out. I got lots of extra bins and stuff now, but if you look at the receipts, the first time I went to Home Depot, I spent $79, and the second time I spent $50. And so that just goes to show it doesn't take a whole lot of money. I mean, that was some decent pocket change, but I still got enough done, and I've never done much woodwork myself or anything. But anyways, it's late in the night. It's 12:30 at night, I guess, not in the morning. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Whoa, wait. Before I end that video, I just wanted to add this little clip. So I probably built these shelves about maybe a month ago, maybe a little less. I just never got around to editing the video, which is good because I wanted to show what it has been like now that I've been using it. And if you can see here, I got my Cressida pulled back in. I park my bike right here. I usually get home before my mom, and if I don't, I just pull in, turn my bike around, and then I can fit it right there. And I can still pull in and out of the garage, and I can fit through there and stuff. So I got everything cleaned up on this side, so it's nice and open. And then over here, I have room to pull the car in and still be able to get through. I got all my bins where I need them to go. I got everything, you know, set where I want it to be, and I've been, you know, working in it for a while, and it's been really nice. I taped this fucking mirror to the refrigerator too, which is funny, but anyways, I got an LED light which I can turn on there. I got this big halogen light, that light, and then I really like how this light works because it's LED, and I've been messing around with it and stuff, and been able to work here. And then here I have all my nuts and bolts organized so I can get exactly what I want. And I bought a label maker and it works perfect. So I got all that labeled, and I got my bins labeled and everything. But other than that, I'll go ahead and finish the video off. I just wanted to throw this in here to see, so y'all can see how it looks like actually being used and everything. So back to you, past Preston. Like, subscribe, follow my 2 Instagrams, and peace.